Hey,
Hey, ooh, I like the
how are
background.
you?
I
Thanks,
like the
girl.
background.
Listen, I had family coming. I'm like, I didn't even know nobody was coming. I said, oh no. I said, let me go outside because they're so loud. They're so loud. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I am good. I like your background and everything.
Oh, thank
Okay.
you. Yeah, I try to spoof it up a little bit for the
Yeah,
interviews. So, yo, the Bennett brothers.
girl. When I sent you the thing, I don't know if you had said you read them before. Have you had, or you had just started reading? I
I
wasn't too
just
sure.
started and Fearless. The friends turn to look. We'll get into all that.
Yeah.
We'll get into all that. All right. So introduce yourself. Tell everybody who you are and what you do, what's your genre, and anything you want them to know before we get started.
Well, I'm Donnia Marie. Well, I'm a self-published author, obviously. I've been doing this since 2018, and Fearless Love is my very first book. But outside of being an author, I'm also an actress, and I handle kids that are actors and actress as well. And I have a few different businesses. So yeah, an entrepreneur overall.
That's what's up. That's
Yeah.
what's up. So, what was the genesis of the writing journey? What was it? What was it? A moment, a story, an idea, or a personal experience when you said, I'm gonna write these fucking stories.
Honestly, I always been a reader. So like I don't know about you. So I mean, at today's age, I feel like I don't have time to read for real. But like back in middle school and high school, we had no business reading Sister Soldier for real. But I felt like we were just pushing books like freaking drugs for real. Like we were just swapping out books. Eric Jerome Dickey, like I don't know who introduced me, how I started really reading those books, but man, I got so addicted. And I was like, one day I'm gonna have to
Mhm.
write. But you say things, but I never really see myself being an author. So
Mhm.
somebody introduced me to independent authors, period. Like, you're used to the big shelf books. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
I feel like Eric Jerome is not self-published. I don't think he ever was anyway. But,
Mm-mm.
we think of the Sister Soldiers, but basically, who was it that I read first? I can't remember which person I read, but oh my God, I got hooked. Then I started realizing independent authors be winning. Like,
Mhm.
they the one that got me to read again, to be honest, if I'm being honest.
Mhm.
Like, eventually I learned about Christina C. Jones or the Love Belvins or the Alexandria House. But either way, I read somebody's book and I was like, shit, I'm about to read. I mean, I'm about to write. I'm going to write somebody. And Sean and Chelsea came to mind. Like, I had no idea. I just knew I wanted to write something. And that's just what
Mhm.
I did. And it flowed.
So when you look at your catalog now, how do
Mhm.
you personally define the you style? What themes, emotional arcs, or character types do you find returning to you, and why?
I'm gonna be honest. I know people love the whole friends to lovers,
Mm-hmm.
and I know Sean is a lot of people's favorites, I feel like, or the Bennett brothers, period. But I just like love stories, period. Like, but I like drama. But when I say drama, I'm not saying like, oh, we shooting up the place necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want real life scenarios. That's really
Mm-hmm.
important to me, and me crafting that and also showing like there's always something bigger at the end, like something positive. Like I'm big about positivity, but I
Mm-hmm.
also don't shy away from the negative that life brings too. Like no relationship is perfect, you feel me?
Yeah.
So I just like to be real. I don't want to sugarcoat nothing. So that's my style of writing. Like I'm very even if a reader is not going to like it, you may like it, somebody else may not, but I don't shy away from stuff. I'm going to write whatever the characters realistically tell me to write. That's what I do.
So you wrote the Bennett brothers. Oh my God. Whew.
Mhm.
So your
And you're
Bennett
still in the
brothers.
beginning. So
Yeah.
it really has some crazy twist that I will say I've had some readers like damn near curse me out about it because they don't like how
Don't say that.
um yeah, like they felt some way because they got so addicted to the brothers, which I love the brothers too. But it's Benji's story in particular, which is book two, that I
Mm-hmm.
think throw people in a loop. They don't like, it's not that they don't love the story. They love the story. They just don't like where I put certain forgiveness. Like, you know how people are like, you shouldn't have forgave so and so or
Mm-hmm.
blah, blah. And I'm like, that's not everybody's scenario. Or they may say, realistically, could people do that? I'm like, people realistically do that all the time. It's just, and then black people, like, sometimes we sweep things under the rug. So
Mm-hmm.
I think they got because they love the family so much, they didn't like. what happened to Benji. That really tore them up, like the family itself.
Mm.
So yeah.
Oh my God, because I'm gonna finish this series this week so I can go ahead and do a full review of the whole Bennett brothers.
Yeah, you'll see what I'm talking about though. You know.
So your Bennett brothers series captures, from what I can see from your first book, is more of a striking balance between vulnerability and masculinity.
Hmm.
And what is it about their journeys that you feel resonates with readers, particularly Black readers?
I'm gonna be honest, each one of them have a totally different journey. Each one of
Mm.
them deal with something totally different. I don't know what you've been through relationship wise. Have you had a friends to lover type thing ever?
Oh
Like
hell yeah!
relationship wise?
I married
Yeah,
him.
okay. I've done oh, oh. But okay, but you know the ups and downs. And it was just
Mm-hmm.
being real for Sean and Chelsea. Like their friendship may not be what you and your boo think friendship was. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But it was their own thing. So that was Sean had whatever he had going on. And I feel
Mm-hmm.
like he still had identity issues too, but maybe he had identity issues because I didn't craft them 100% like I should have. It was my first book. So I was still learning the brothers. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it real. I was still learning the brothers. That's why I was like, once book two and three, all that, it's totally different. It's way more developed,
Mm-hmm.
just being real.
Yeah.
Um, but and then Benji, his story is traumatizing, honestly. You know what I mean? So he had to deal with your question. Vulnerability. That was another thing.
Mm-hmm.
Every one of those brothers deal with vulnerability on some
Mm-hmm.
different account, but it's very uncomfortable, if that makes sense. Because some men
Yeah.
today, men don't believe in counseling for real. It's now I'm starting to hear therapy is okay. It's now
Yeah.
I'm starting to
Yeah.
hear people say, oh, I'm really going through something. You know, nobody want to admit that they're struggling, whether it's financially, whether it's family. You know, we got this perfect life because social media says we should be perfect. We should be in a good space. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so everybody's struggling in this story, even with them having money. So that's why I try to show like just because you got money, life still goes on, but you still can move on and progress if you, you ultimately determine what your lifestyle will be, if that makes sense.
So
So
let me ask you this. Many of male characters are known for the crash outs.
yeah.
They're intense, they're impulsive, sometimes emotionally reckless, but they're all still lovable in their own way. What is your approach to writing that layered masculinity without romanticizing toxicity?
That was a good question.
Thank you.
That's a really good question. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. eh, Shooter in particular, I don't even know if you met him yet in the book, but he's not the brothers at all. He's across
Mhm,
all the books though. He's
mhm,
become a fan fave. He toxic, honey. He toxic. However, there is no layer. I allow them to be who they are. I'm just gonna be
mhm,
honest with you. Like I allow them to be because the thing is, even though they may be one way today, there's still improvement. There's still growth. So sometimes it is a little toxic. But it's
mhm.
real though. It's not nothing that's unbelievable, if that
Right,
makes
right.
sense. So I think every character should have some type of growth. So I genuinely I craft the characters where I let them do their thing. Like I craft them, I figure out who they are, what their main goal is, where they are at point A and where they're going to point Z. But so much could change. So there's certain
Mm,
places with the characters where I thought it was going to go to Z and it didn't go there. Like the whole path went different. So I just allow them to be themselves because
okay.
characters sometimes influence each other.
So when crafting the Bennetts, how intentional were you about giving each brother a distinctly different art and personality? Did their stories come to you as a full concept, or did you discover them individually over time?
Definitely discover them over time. Because like I said, book one was my very first. But what I did know with book one was Sean was going to be a rapper. Like what for whatever reason, that's how it came to me. I knew he was going to be a rapper. I knew Chelsea, she was gonna be a single mom, but
Mm-hmm.
she has a wealthy baby daddy. But she
Mm-hmm.
also struggles with trust issues, and that's everyday life. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
he
So
was a
I knew.
dog.
Yeah, he was a dog. He was a dog, but he's better off in his standalone. He's a
Mm,
different person. You know, he does grow later in life. But everybody have their problems, if that makes sense. I kind of try to craft it. Benji, he was gonna have all the problems. I try to give him brother number three and brother number four problem, if that makes sense. But I had a developer where she was like, girl, reality, a brother, one person can't go through that much trauma, if that makes sense. So I kind of knew what they were gonna kind of go through. or their
Yeah.
core. Let me say that core, but I didn't know what the story was going to look like at all. And it changed. It changed from the very beginning, for sure.
Mm. So your female characters are far from one dimensional. They're emotionally intelligent, can be stubborn, and fiercely protective of their peace. Why is it important for you to avoid writing women as either overly combative or passive pushovers?
I think it's okay to have those characters, just but it doesn't mean we have to I mean, they just didn't come off like that for me, to be honest. Like the character was just essentially who they were. I'm not against that, but I
Mhm.
didn't see that for none of the women for the most part. I'm trying to think who was probably the most vulnerable. Hmm, eh, I don't know. I don't feel. I don't know. They all have their own personality. I'm just really trying to think. I'm like, I think Rihanna was different. For a lot
Mhm.
of people, they thought her mouth was. She was a little spicy. You know what I'm saying? She said what was on her mind. She didn't care. Some people didn't like that. Some people
Mhm.
actually despised that. Most people liked her, but a lot of people didn't like it. So I got negative or comments about it. But I try to allow them to be themselves. So if they are a pushover, if somebody could push them over, then that's just their personality. But the question is, will they be like that at the end of the book?
That's a good question. So, how many of your women characters are in pursuit of safe spaces? Internally, emotionally, romantically. How do you explore the idea of emotional safety in your stories, especially when pairing them with men who are still healing?
Hold on, say that question again. Wait, I'm trying to understand what you said.
So I was saying, how do you explore the idea of emotional safety with your women in stories, especially when the pairing them with men who are also still healing?
Honestly, I try to really let them stay true to themselves. But I
Mm-hmm.
also, so when you're writing, right? I don't know for all authors, just myself. So when I'm writing, I'm not gonna say like I get a visual. I can't explain how it is when we write for real. Like it's like I have the idea of what's happening in this scene or whatever. But once I start writing, I just let them speak. I let them move how they move. So
Mm-hmm.
even though I think I'm gonna allow Rihanna to do this and that with Benji, depending how Benji move, Rihanna may not even respond to that because you want the characters to stay true to themselves too. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they don't stick true to themselves. So usually I try to craft them with the core of whatever their identity is. And that's how I
Mm-hmm.
keep a balance. But sometimes they fall short too. You know what I'm saying? Just because you might allow your boo thing, you might don't play that, right? You might not play ABC, but sometimes ABC happening, girl, you doing something totally different because I wouldn't do what Danya did.
Mm-hmm.
But is that true? In this
Yeah.
situation, you changed it up. You became somebody different. So they are true to their core. But when I'm writing, sometimes it changes.
Mm-hmm.
So I just and I allow that too because I think that's realistic as well.
I'm a stray from my questions that I have written down, but friends to lovers, that trope. How do you go through each book, find a specific area of romance in that book that you want to go to for those characters? Does it just happen automatically as you're writing, or you immediately know I'm going to write friends to lovers, I'm going to write enemies to lovers, I'm going to write whatever, whatever.
I question my characters for real, for real. Like if I kind of have an idea, no, seriously, no. Look, I hope I don't sound crazy
No.
when I say when I say I question them. But like, okay, for instance, Shauna and Chelsea. I just knew I was gonna write. I just knew he was a rapper. I knew she
Mhm.
was a single mom with and her baby daddy Randall. That's all I really knew. Then eventually, I just tried to craft her. I tried to figure out like what's important to her, what's not important to her. Like I just tried to literally, and when I say craft, like I'm not literally asking them that question but I'm asking them that question, like, where does she live? And sometimes
Mhm.
the idea just come in. So it's like I dissect my characters for if
Mhm.
that makes sense. Like I know the overall story, but I dissect them. I figure out, how did Chelsea meet Sean? And I'm gonna
Hmm.
be honest, I knew how long she knew Sean in book one, but it's in book two because Chelsea and Rihanna are best friends. It's in book two that I really understood what kind of relationship her and Sean had. Like I understood it, but I didn't realize just how back they went because sometimes you do a little flashback, and I'm like, oh, that happened because Rihanna told me, because she booked two characters. She told me a story that I didn't even realize that Chelsea and Sean, I knew they shared something, but I didn't realize, oh, y'all did this. Like, I didn't even know that Rihanna knew them back when she was 17 years old. Like, they went to, I forgot what place they went to. But either way, I learned that in book two. So, you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So
Hmm.
you've written both the Bennett brothers and then you have the Champion
Hmm.
sisters. You like family, boy. You like them family stories.
Well,
What
yeah,
what
kinda.
what challenges and joys come with writing large family centered story on series?
I'm gonna be honest. Okay, so with the sisters, there's four books. I only wrote two. The other two's by Twyla B. Stone. So I wrote book one and three, which is Sapphira and Amika, and
Mm-hmm.
Twyla wrote book two and four.
Mm-hmm.
She came to me with the idea, talking about, girl, let's write this story. I think they would love it. The sisters. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. And I never wrote with an author before. So I'm like, how is this going to look? So honestly, we had to really figure out who is like, we had to figure out each character, if that makes sense. But even before
Mm-hmm.
we talked about the character, we had to figure out overall who are the champion sisters?
Mm.
Who's their mom and dad? Are their parents still together? Once we figured out and crafted the family itself, then we were able to figure out which women we were going to have for ourselves, if that makes sense. Like, I came up with
Mm.
everything myself for my sisters, but she came up with her own thing, and we kind of checked in. Like, I think I understood her characters enough where I was able to implement.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think I understood the characters enough to be able to implement them into my story. So, yeah.
How do you stay unique in your voice when collaborations happen, even though y'all are not in the same book per se, but you are in the same series? So how do you keep your voice unique?
I won't let no other author infiltrate what I want to do. I will run it by, and if it doesn't sound good, why does it not sound good? Why do you think this may need to change? Because I'm known as team too much. And when I write, you'll notice I'm very detailed. Like, if you're reading my book, I want you to feel like it's cinematic. Like, I
Mm,
want you to taste it. I want you to smell it. I want you to hear it. And I do realize over time I had to learn, like, you could tone it down. And they don't need to know everything. They don't need to know just because we had to cook out, we smell these baked, well, you should smell the baked beans or the hot dogs, but you get my point. Like, so I just try to stay true to the writer that I am, if that makes sense. And I
mm,
ask for input. I definitely ask for input because it's a team effort thing. But once they tell me what they tell me, I just run with it. And I'm open to critique, but I try to
mm,
stay as loyal to my characters as possible because a lot of times the characters have nothing to do with me. Like, I'm serious
mm.
about letting the characters genuinely lead the story.
Okay. You also have sports romance.
Yes, that's Benji's. That Benji one is, well, it's Benji and Randall. Randall is Chelsea's baby daddy, and that's a standalone, which people love that story too. So I'm glad they enjoyed that novella.
Now, with sports
Yeah.
romance, there's a different layer of romance with sports romance because it's like a layer of ego
Hmm.
and discipline and public pressure. How do you write athletic characters, particularly black athletes, while still maintaining emotional depth and romance credibility?
That's why people love Benji. Benji was a different type of athlete. I kept him true to himself too. So,
Mm-hmm.
you think about the big egos, most of them don't even care about school. Like, no offense. Like, there's educated
Mm-hmm.
athletes now, plenty of them. But for instance, like, he knew multiple languages. He's the one that graduated school early. He stayed true to what he believed in. Like, even though he's the MVP, he got all the money, he
Mm-hmm.
still go home and lay on that twin size bed. Not because
Mm.
he has to, but that's his personality. That's who he is. You get what I'm saying? So I wanted him to genuinely be him. Meanwhile, somebody else had told me, it was like, realistically, would a actor or athlete do that? I'm like, yeah. I said, there's plenty of people that stay true to themselves. That don't mean they're being funny. They
Mm-hmm.
just who they are. But guess what? His best friend, Jamal is he's something else. They're part of the sorority. So Jamal, he a little dog, he has a people like Jamal because he has that
Not the fraternity dogs, Lord.
yeah, he that dog. Like, he remind me of maybe a Q dog. I don't know, but you get my point.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he gives off everything else that people want to see. So I also realize sometimes you have to mix it with different characters too, because just because the main character is one way, maybe you could add somebody else to spice up something. But he has a lot
Mm-hmm.
of spice, baby. Benji has spice. Like, he's different. Like, he. Everybody loves Benji.
So, do you think you write? urban fiction, contemporary romance, and women's fiction, or contemporary romance and women's fiction?
I feel like contemporary romance and women's fiction, but I have a series coming out that is like for real urban. And Shooter's book is more urban. I mean romance too, but it's definitely urban. Because Shooter, that's what's true to him though. Shooter's the type for real, he'll put you in a body bag and not think twice.
Damn.
Yeah,
Damn.
so I want him to sit true to who he is. Yeah, he's with the Bennetts, but at the end of the day, that's why Shooter. I think that's why people like to Shooter because Shooter was the aggressive one. He didn't think twice. He's also Rihanna's brother, you know, and
Mm.
Chelsea's best friend too. Before Chelsea met Sean, so that's another thing. A lot of people question like, well, why didn't she end up with not Randall, with Shooter?
Shit, she said
Which I
it in
mean,
the beginning of the story.
yeah, you know, but I guess they like, you know. Yeah, so but Shooter, I end up making up his own story because girl, that's another thing. Even though Shooter's across that whole book and everybody loves Shooter so much, I didn't know old Shooter for real. I just knew who his sister was, and I know Shooter be showing like he be showing his ass in the book.
Mm.
But now I realize where he really come from. Like now I'm learning. I learned in book one that I created for him in his own series who he really is, or how Lexiana came about. You know, people
Mm.
question like, how did Lexi and Shooter end up having anything going on? But little do they know, nah, they got history for real. I know it might be above you because you ain't read it yet all the way. So
No, no,
yeah.
I'm thinking about Lexi in book. I I ain't like her, but um, she was too
Yeah.
thirsty for me. Um,
She was, yeah. And I
so
hate I wrote her like that now, because now that I know Lexi, I'm like, God dang. But it's good because now, yeah, yeah.
okay. So how do you approach character development or romantic tension differently depending on whether it's women's fiction or contemporary romance?
I kind of look at it almost a little the same, but I realize two different genres call for different things, right? Certain wording, certain scenes. I'm not gonna say it's not appropriate, but it's just it don't mix. Like, okay, I'll tell you one thing. So let's say I add a herb because even with the Bennetts, there's some moments in there where you be like, wait a minute, it could have some urban flair to it, which it does. So I
Mm-hmm.
add whatever I add if it's necessary. But when it comes to those to contemporary romance, I try to. It's almost like I try to stay true to that genre, if that makes sense.
Mm,
Like nothing
yeah.
changes. It's just I just think the scenes look a little different. I'm not going to talk about things being so gruesome. However, when Shooter come up, I let him be himself. So if it's gruesome
Mm.
because that's just him.
I like that. Picasso. I like that.
Yeah.
So it you are an indie published author, not and what you guys nothing is handed to y'all. Y'all doing this shit yourselves.
Mhm.
And you
Mhm.
wear a lot of hats when you're an indie author. Have you had a moment where your writing expectations didn't match reality? And how did you adapt emotionally and professionally?
Yeah, I'm struggling now, to be
Oh,
honest, because like, yeah, well, because I need to have a certain book out. Like I wanted to have Shooter book two out by now, but I don't. But also because I've been doing, I've been actually booking with my acting, which I'm happy about because that's important to me too. So it's almost like because I'm dabbling in so many things, it's
mm-hmm.
kind of hard sometimes to be true to that. So now I'm learning to hire people to help me too, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm so used to doing everything hands on. So it's like I want stuff perfect. You know what I mean? But I realized, like, girl, it's okay to delegate certain tasks because you're only one person. So how am I
Mm-hmm.
supposed to give everybody the quality that they're looking for? So that's important to me. So now I am focused on like genuinely
Mm-hmm.
getting Shooter 2 out. And I have a whole nother genre that I'm working on. So that's why I was just like, and we're working on film adaptation for the Bennetts too.
Oh, I
So
know
we're
you
yeah,
fucking lying.
yeah, so
What?
it's a lot of things. Yeah, so it's a lot of things like pitching and stuff that's going on. And I'm still like, do I want to hand it over to somebody else, or do I personally want to be the executive producer? Like, because I'm in the acting field, I know a lot, and I have really
Mm-hmm.
decent connection. I say decent because I don't know everybody, but I have some pretty decent connections. So it's like that's important to me. So that's something I'm like really pushing right now. So yeah,
How important is because now I'm finna get off track, lady. You done got me off
no, you're
track. You got my mind
good.
reeling. How important is it for indie authors to push for their film to be web series or to be film or scripted podcasts and stuff like that? How important is for at this time frame in the industry as far as literacy goes? How
Yeah,
important is that?
I'm gonna be honest. I have nothing against the big published house authors, okay? Because baby, we all don't mind getting a six-figure payout up front, right? And
Mm-hmm.
FYI, self-published authors make that all the time. You know what I'm saying? And then
Mm-hmm.
some don't. You know what I'm saying? So everybody's in different levels, and that's okay. Um, but I think it's really important right now. Let me say this because I think it's indie authors that's putting all the other authors on. I'm just keeping it real. Like again, I would have not went back to reading like that, at least not at the moment
Mm-hmm.
if I really wasn't introduced to the Alex House, if I wasn't introduced to the CCJ or even Alexandra Warren. Like, I mean, love, girl, I just, I didn't even know indie authors were doing what they do for real. Like, and I'm just, and it's not me even just trying to big people up because I'm a self-published author now. Like, now that I see the workload that I put in there and then the freaking characters, girl, I'm still trying to figure out how the hell CCJ have so many damn books. Like, I'm like, girl, how are you doing this? Like, but I admire it. I love it. And at this point in my life, I feel like anybody that's indie should push for whatever they want, whether they want
Mm-hmm.
audiobooks, whether they want TV, because everybody's not into that. And I also know everybody doesn't know much about the TV world because you really don't want to sell your series neither and just make a certain amount of money. Like, there's a lot of negotiations that goes into that too. So it's another world, but shoot, I think indie authors are winning, and I personally think they don't want putting people on.
Mm-hmm.
That's genuinely what I feel. So I feel like their books should be able to be TV series too, or web series. I don't think Hollywood really look at indies like that. I'm telling you this from the conversation I've had with major execs.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't even know indie authors were doing that for real. Like they didn't know. That's why I love it for Kennedy Ryan. When I see Kennedy Ryan, I was like, yes. Yeah, like I'm so excited. I don't know her personally. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we may chat here and there on mess, but I'm so freaking happy for her because people just don't know. Hell, I think her thing better than some other TV series that are out now. So that's why I was like, nah, they don't give indies enough credit. But everybody doing their thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
I like that. I like that. With the indie scene so crowded, which people don't understand, there's a lot of indie authors. It's just you just got to find your one or two or five.
yeah.
Especially in romance, urban, and black literature. How do you stay visible and original and inspired? What practices keep you from
Mhm.
burning out or blending in?
I haven't been doing that great actually at staying relevant on social media. I don't even know why people still, I mean, not in a bad way. This is just being real. Like my stories are good. No, I never I never I never did the whole ads thing or promoting for real. Like, the only thing I used to do was like little social media here and there, but people just kept buying my freaking books. And in the audiobook, I was like, man, in audiobook, I swear I make more money on audiobook than even physical books, which is great. I'm here
Mm-hmm.
for it. Um, but I don't know how people keep finding my catalog for real because I feel like I haven't been on social media like I should. Again, I've been really in my acting bag. Like, I've been focused on something else. And then again, pitching the Bennetts and working on different aspects. So yeah, I'm still in the book world, but I've been working on different avenues or different visuals, like I said, for
Mm-hmm.
TV. So it's now that I'm really back on the scene, now that I'm actually pushing ads. I never even did paid ads. I was like, oh, let me do a little paid ads because I realized how good I'm doing without even doing that. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I'm staying relevant. I'm just thankful that people love my series enough. And then people, I feel like, love the Bennett so much that they never gave the sisters a chance. Now, all of a sudden, oh my God, we should have read Zafira, but we should have seen the Champion sisters because they realized that's just as spicy. And I was like, yeah, that's because y'all so stuck on Sean and Benji and book cover that y'all ain't even want to give the girlies a try. So,
So,
hmm.
what's your why? What's the deeper purpose behind your writing, healing, representation, escape, legacy? How has that purpose evolved over time?
To be honest, book one, I just wrote something just for fun, right? It
Mm-hmm.
turned out great.
Mm-hmm.
But in all actuality, I didn't realize how much of a difference I was making in people's lives. Like I told you before, I'm big about you're gonna get some steamy stories, you're gonna get the little drama, but you're gonna learn something. You're gonna learn there's a way that you can grow. Like I'm big on growth, period. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how I'm gonna weave it in that story, you're gonna learn something, you're gonna grow somewhere. Now you might not like what I said, but because you resonate so much with the characters or you've done been through something or something in there gives you that little push and you're like, oh, okay. Like sometimes you don't even realize what you read, what they say, what you consume, sometimes you
Mm-hmm.
become that. Like essentially I try to always drop some nuggets somewhere, but without you feeling like you're actually learning or you're being lectured. So that is really a why for me. Like I'm big on it and I love entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
um so I entertain with spice, but I'm also going to drop those nuggets. So that's important to me in any writing that I
So let's talk about your spice. You don't hold back.
do. Nah, I'm not gonna hold back. If the character said that's what they did, then I'm gonna let them do what they do. Sometimes I do hold back a little bit, and I'm like, I don't know, because girl, I don't write porn now. Hold on. I was like, it's not, I was like, wait a minute. So I be trying, but the other authors inspire me. So that's why I do like to read other people's books, because sometimes I feel like, am I extra? You know what I mean?
Mm,
And I realize the readers like what they like, and then then you hear the audio book, especially if it's Jacoby reading. They're like, "Well, damn,
good God.
okay, that scene was a yeah." So
Mm,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So I hear a lot of authors say that when they write spice scenes, it's hard for them.
It ain't hard for me. I'll throw on a little bit of song. Like I put some music on for real. Like I forgot. I don't remember what book I was writing, but something that kept playing. Girl, I forgot. You ever listen to Ludacris?
Hmm.
It was Ludacris. What song was it?
Was it Lovers and
Girl,
Friends?
nah, 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 no.
Waterfalls?
Ludacris, girl, ain't nobody. It's been so long. Phase on Love, come on the beginning of it.
That's
Oh my God.
Waterfalls.
No,
Oh,
no, no, no.
uh, oh, I know what you're talking about. I just was listening to it. Fuck. Uh-oh.
I didn't realize because I was trying to go find the song that it paused me because I was trying to find it. But no,
I,
girl.
I
Either
was
way,
just listening to it. I know what you're talking about.
um,
Oh.
God, you just got it, man. Like, yeah, I could look. I ain't heard that song so long, girl. It was on repeat. Not that I'm taking any words from it, but it just puts you in that mode or in that. Huh? Oh no, it's me. Sorry. But yeah, so girl, I let those songs ride and whatever my
Mm,
mind goes to, that's just what it is. And then again, by then, you done built a relationship with the character. So at this point, Sean and Chelsea, I already know what they about. I know that they never touched each other before for real. Like, meanwhile, people thinking, oh, they've been touching, they ain't did nothing. So
mm,
therefore now this scene is a lot hotter. You feel what I'm saying? Because I genuinely allow them to be, that friends to lover, but God let music ride. That's what I do. It's gonna
yeah,
ride and I'm gonna play whatever I want. If I gotta mute it, then cool. But I just let it flow. I imagine the
I
scenery
like
of
that.
wherever they're at. Yeah.
I like that because, well, to me, for me, I feel
Yeah.
like the sex be sexing and it flows, and
Yeah.
it's nasty, y'all.
And
It's nasty, but it
oh,
flows.
that's it, girl. Look at TK, but TK.
Freaky things.
See, yeah, see, girl, I can't even speak because she found it for me. Thank you. Yes, that's the one. And I was like, wait a minute, I ain't heard this song, which I had no business listening to it back then. But baby, when that played, girl, I had it on rotate, 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 rotate. Not rotate, repeat over and over because it gave all the feels, or even ump in it. Put a little ump in it. That was something that kept playing. I was like,
Oh,
I
by
forgot
Jagged
about these songs.
Edge.
Yes, by Jagged Edge. I forgot
Ooh.
about those. Like it's those. So it's like nice when I finally start hearing things that I haven't heard in forever. Shoot, sometimes taking it old school, like Sebastian, he's book three, the Bennett brothers. And he loved old school music, right? Like whether it's
Mm-hmm.
the Bobby Brown, whether it's I can't even think. But that if you think you're lonely now, like that's his jam too.
Yeah.
That's his feel. So sometimes you play those songs and it just brings a whole new scenery. So you think you finna write something, but it goes somewhere different. Not even sexually. It could be
Mm.
anything. Like it just flows. If you just let yourself relax and just like shut up, you be like, all right, let me let this see what the character's talking about.
And
It moves.
I do like that. I think I wish more authors did that because hearing you say that, and I read Jaquel Jade's books,
Hmm.
it's the
Oh, I just got
immerse.
onto Jaquel. I
Yeah,
like Jaquel. Okay, that didn't mean to cut you off, but yeah, 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 yeah.
it's the immersive experience with the music.
Hmm.
I love music, and okay, you read this chapter, but listen to the song. That experience is something totally different.
Hmm.
It takes the chapter from here to here,
It really do. It really
especially
do.
with the right song. Oh my god, it'll have you
Hmm.
crying, and you not even a crier. You'll be,
Right.
why am I crying?
Yeah.
I but I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
I need any authors on here. Hey, hey, please do.
Yeah, it really helps a lot.
So so when people read a book by you, what do you want them to feel, confront, or walk away with, especially as black women readers? And I know I go back to black because hell, we
Hmm.
black. So so what, especially for black readers, what do you want them to take away from your story?
Girl, they could live their life just as beautifully as everybody else because one thing, well, now I'm starting to see black girl. When I say black girl luxury, doesn't mean it has to be luxury, luxury. Black
Mm-hmm.
girl luxury is like, it's whatever you want black girl luxury to be, if that makes sense. So I always try to write the women where there's so much more positivity. It's not always the negative because I be feeling like, girl, I don't like how they portray black people in general. It ain't even just the women, just in general. So I just try to always, again, I drop gems and I want them to know they can have love too, like anybody else have love. If you want to be honest, if we're open
Yeah.
to it, if we don't allow our traumas to get to us, because as much as people don't realize, white folks got trauma too. Every human have their own problems. So with that being said, I just try to write the scenes or the stories in a way where we can always take something from it. Like, oh, I can live this too. Like, I'm not saying you gotta be a
Yeah.
millionaire. It ain't that deep. But you could experience love. You can forgive because if you forgive, maybe then you could be more open to something new.
Mm.
So it's just little stuff like that.
So, what does real diversity in publishing look like to you as a Black author? And what are the misconceptions people have when they hear diverse books?
Mhm. I mean, are you saying diversity in a sense of like what I actually see now
Mm-hmm.
in the publishing world? Because as of right now, we not that. I don't feel like we really heard, or I'm not gonna say we're not because we make ourselves heard. And to be honest, if you want to know, again, I'm not hyping up the indie world. I'm just saying some indie authors, and I say some because I'm not going to include myself or anybody in particular. But I'm saying this from factual. Some people are doing better than our other people. You know, the other race or the other whatever is supposed to be popular out there. Um,
Mm-hmm.
diversity, girl, they ain't stunting indies for real. It's now. I'm telling you the truth. You know what? It's now they're starting to see an example. They're starting to really realize, like, wait a minute, people are making noise. And again, that's why I'm so happy for Kennedy Ryan or other people that's doing their thing because now it's like, wait a minute. You have a book out? Well, what do you write? Well, who was your publishing house? Who was this and that? So there wasn't no diversity. I think it's now that again that we're starting to see some noise, but there
Mm.
really wasn't no diversity. I don't feel like you have to be, you know, a
So, what
certain
advice would you
whatever.
give to a new author, especially a Black woman, who are navigating the indie scene with no connections or major budget? What's one mistake they should avoid and one truth they need to hear?
If they're just a want to write or they're trying to progress somewhere else. Because if they're just
Both.
trying to write, honestly, if they just trying to write, they just need to write and don't wait nobody to give them no handout. And what I mean by handout, I'll give advice all day long, you know, or whatever I know. Why not tell it? But trust the process. Somebody told me when I said I was gonna write book one, I made mention. So my close circle, they know me. If I say I'm gonna do something, they know I'm gonna run with it and I'm gonna go crazy in a good
Mm,
way. So it's gonna pop off eventually, right? But somebody told me it was like, you know, Google said most self-indie authors only make they barely ever make even $100, right? And I say, really? Then I went to Google. Google did kind of say something like that. Now they said you don't make that type of money. It's like matter of fact, some type of big house publishers people or authors don't even make or recoup the money that the publishing house even made. You know what I'm saying? Because the publishing
mm,
house gives all this extra money, you know, to get the book out, to do the book cover, the
mm,
promos or whatever. Long story short, girl, first month or two or three, I was making several thousands right off the rip. Like I was
mm,
a brand new author, but I also know Sean Body did something too. Like, because one thing I understood was marketing. I also
mm.
knew if my book was pretty enough and it would, or whatever, people would want it, if that makes sense. I'm
Oh,
just an
hell
ordinary
yeah.
person.
The
Yes.
readers are cover whores to the upteenth.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So no, so what any individual person, male or female, if they're gonna write, just freaking write. And
Mm,
do your best and do the damn thing. Make sure your shit is together, if that makes sense. Just make sure that cover's on point. Make sure the editing is on par. Because even me, I learned something. I did get an editor, but it's really 3, 4 months out after I got a whole bunch of reviews because I didn't know my book was gonna do like it did.
mm,
Certain things they said I wanted to be better too, so I got a professional editor instead of me using Grammarly. Of course, all my books now have is top notch, but you get my point. I didn't do that at first. Just being honest, not on book one. I
Mm,
didn't know it was gonna go like that. So it was a lesson for me. So no, so if you're a new author or a new whatever, just freaking go full throttle. And I'm not saying you got to spend $1 million on an editor. Just make sure your stuff actually is right.
mm, mm.
And you don't need connections for real. You may do your thing, and they're gonna find you regardless. And you don't know when that connection gonna come. So if you're ready,
Ew.
when they say stay ready, that's the point of staying ready. Get that book out. Just write
Mm.
it. Get that cover, and you'll be fine.
So the book world thrives on community.
Hmm.
Will readers get a chance to meet you this year or next year at any expo, events, or signings?
Sure, next year, because there are some certain things that I have going on, that I already okayed, if that makes sense, or agreed to.
Mm-hmm.
But this year, there's two things that I'm hoping that I'm able to make happen. So I don't know for sure, and I'm also thinking about doing my own event too. But there's so much stuff going on. But yeah, so I'm trying to get back on the book scene for real because again, I haven't been the way I should be. But again, it's hard trying to maneuver so many different, you know, aspects.
So, how important is marketing? How important is marketing as an indie author in this day and age compared to back in the day?
I think it's your bread and butter. But the thing is, at least you do have social media. But the thing is, I'm be honest, even the little, and I say break, even though my book's been selling, girl, I didn't even know how many new authors came in the game in just a year or two. Like, I mean, I haven't stopped for no year or two, but the thing is, it grew so much. And it's not a bad thing, but
Mm-hmm.
it is a little more saturated than it was 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, you better market. You better do something. And marketing don't mean just spending money on Amazon ads or anything. It's just for real. You do got to post on social media, or at the very least, talk to the other authors. Like it's community.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is community. Once people learn more about your books, they're gonna usually come back. Usually, even if they didn't like book one, I do think that's what I do love about the readers. They do give a lot of second chances. Again, I
Mm-hmm.
learned so much with Fearless Love. Like, man, they chewed me up. Like the girl that edits my book now, Tamara, she's so amazing. But she gave me so much critique on my Amazon thing. Girl, I had to find her. I didn't even know Goodreads existed. It's good. I was like, who is this Tamara girl that's telling me all the wrong things I did in this book? But not only did she tell me the wrong things, let me tell you why I reached out. Because she also told me all the things that I could have done to improve the book. And she said so much stuff that I was like, she must know something. And I reached out there. She's like, yeah, I'm an editor. I said, oh, now that was good marketing. Even though she wasn't trying to market, but girl, shoot, now she's one of my best friends.
Damn. That's
Yeah.
what's up.
So, yeah.
So
So
how
marketing is
does
huge.
how does the reader space where there's new readers making businesses that are incorporating um authors, how important is that to have that communication and friendship with those type of readers? Not you crazy bitches. I'm talking about, you know, the
Mhm.
ones that ain't crazy.
Yeah, I think it's important, period. Because again, community, at the end of the day, we could do a lot. We could spend money on so many things and say, oh, yeah, I'm going to promote this way or that way. But I'll tell you one thing, Book Talk is doing this thing. I said people could
Mm-hmm.
take credit away from the book talkers, but could try anyway. But I'm like, nah, they really doing their thing. So at the end of the day, shit, if people know better, they will join the community and be cool with one another. And again, there's enough space for everybody.
It
Because the
is.
way everybody's devouring these books, first of all, I don't even know how people are reading 20, 30 books in a week because that's how I feel. I feel like they do it in a day. And that's what's crazy. The readers. How the heck are people reading that many books?
You see
Like, I
how
don't
quick
get
I slid out
it.
I slid out the camera like I don't know.
Yeah.
I look
So
last
there's
year I think
space. So that tells me there's space for everybody. Then if
it
people can read that many
is.
books in one day, I
Girl,
feel like
I
I know I'm
read almost
exaggerating.
500 books last year.
Oh girl. Oh girl. I
Big,
don't know how
but
you
you
did
know
that.
what? I think okay. A lot of times people say that books are their escapism. Books are my safe space.
Right.
So you always gravitate to your safe space. It's not
Right.
really escapism to me. It's just a safe space. It's
It
genuine
is.
to me. So by it being so genuine, when I see all y'all coming out with these books, I may be flabbergasted to the gasket that y'all have all these damn books coming out, but I enjoy it so much
Yeah.
that I just get so in, especially with a good book. And then it's another good book, and it's another good book. Now, some books I do
Yeah.
have to DNF, but but it's just I'm taking the
Yeah.
chance to read.
Hmm.
Just especially new authors, it's just like, damn, I found a new author. Let me talk about it. So
Yeah. And the stories are good. I'm not gonna lie. So sometimes I get irritated. I'm like, I'm not reading this author. I'm not reading. Girl, then I get stuck. I'm like, girl, ain't you supposed to be writing for real? Why are you reading this book? So sometimes I reward myself. If I write a certain amount of chapters, I'm like, okay, I can go in there and read so and so amount of chapters. So I be trying to reward myself. But girl, I don't have the time. So I be jealous of the readers too because
I,
they actually got a moment to read, even though they really ain't got the time. I don't know how they find it, but they make it happen.
I'm making up for lost time. I was in the military for too long. Now that I am free, I am going to read like it's nobody's business. So, how can new readers support your work and stay connected? So, drop all your social media handles so we know how to connect with you on social media because we don't know how long this one's gonna last. Facebook group if you
Yeah.
have one, website if you have one, and the best way to purchase your books.
Mhm. Everything is under author Donnia Marie, like literally everything is under that. On all socials. Trying to think, and then people could buy the books on DonniaMarie.com. So that's my website. But of course, they're everywhere else too. They're on Amazon, Audible. I mean, any retailer, honestly. But I have been finding that a lot of readers have been coming about on my website, which is really nice because I get it. Because to be honest, you got to share a profit with Amazon. You got to share a profit with Audible, with Barnes and Noble. It don't matter who it is. Everybody getting some money. And then now,
Yeah.
kind of off subject, but same, yeah, same subject. But anyway, like even now, like Audible has it where with the narrators, which I wonder how they're feeling about that, they're using okay, so one of my books, I don't have it on audiobook yet, but I'm going to. I already know who's going to do it. And they wrote out this feature where now it's like AI maybe? Somebody. It's not AI though. Like I feel like it's more like Alexa. Because Alexa, let's be honest, you can ask Alexa whatever and she's gonna answer things. So she doesn't really sound robotic, but she ain't human neither. You know what I'm saying? But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, so they have something where now you can use audiobook in that way. So I don't plan on doing it that way. So that's interesting to say the least. So that's why I'm like, we're always sharing a profit or losing something somewhere with somebody else. There's always a middle person.
Well, Elon Musk, bitch
Hmm.
ass, he's talking about he's trying to make 10 million robots to take over the
Yeah.
human race. This sick bastard. But
Yeah. Girl, it's a mess. It's a mess. So a lot of new things are happening. So I don't know. It's,
somebody
yeah.
asked, do you have digital on your website?
Yeah, I do. Yep. All of it is on there. If they go, honestly, if they go to shop, I'll type it up. But if they go to shop
Mm-hmm.
DonniaMarie.com, they'll find it that way. But the reason I send everybody to DonniaMarie.com is because I know some people love visuals, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some people love visuals, and sometimes people are like, I want to see your characters. I want to see what was in your mind. What did you use for this or that? So I try to post a lot of things on there, or the Spotify playlist, if that makes sense,
Mm-hmm.
or little excerpts. So it's just a lot of things on there, but it still leads to the shopDonniaMarie.com regardless. So
Okay. Well,
yeah.
I appreciate this talk. I am enjoying Sean. I know she's in it. I don't think I don't know she's in it, but I'm it's Sean. It's Sean for me for right now. For right now,
Yeah.
because I haven't got to the rest of them. So,
Yeah.
but
I
something
look
about
forward to
Sean.
seeing who you end up liking a lot more. So
Fucking
I
around
don't
me, I
know.
might pick all of them. I am known
Yeah.
to collect book bags like Pokemon balls. So
You're so
it
crazy,
is.
right?
It might be all of them, and I just want to
Yeah.
compare. When does Shooter Book come out?
Shooter's book one is out.
It's
Yeah,
out.
book one is out.
Okay.
Yeah, Shooter book is out. Book two, just don't ask me about that, but it's coming. It's coming. Book two is coming for real, for real. Now that's who I'm looking forward to seeing to go to screen. I mean, there's no plans of that, like nothing
Mm-hmm.
solidified with that, but I would look forward to him. So it's just, girl, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do a little housekeeping before we get out of here. Can you bear with me for my infomercial? Because that's what
You
it feels
good.
like when I'm doing it.